What's up, everybody? Today we're going to ask the question, can I open carry in North Carolina? I get this question asked a lot, and before I get started, I want to say this right away. I am not an attorney. I'm not a lawyer.
An attorney.
I'm a real estate agent, but I was a cop for over 20 years in the state of North Carolina. So I know a little bit enough to educate you guys, but again, I'm not an attorney. And laws change every day in North Carolina. So what does open carry mean? What that means is in North Carolina, you can carry your gun, whether it be a handgun, pistol, shotgun, long guns, openly in the open. So if you've got a long gun, you could definitely, if you have a strap, I'm assuming you can hold it in your hand, or you can just strap it onto your shoulder. Same with a shotgun, pistols. Typically, I would think it's in a holster, but you could have it in your pocket if it's a little pocket gun, but it's got to be visible to everybody. You can't have your shirt covering, you can't have a jacket covering it. It has to be seen to everybody out in the public. The next question is, how old do I have to be to open carry in North Carolina? And you have to be 18 years or older to open carry in North Carolina, and do not need a permit to open carry in North Carolina. You'll need only need a permit if you're going to buy a gun. If you're going to go to the guns, Walmart or pawn shop, wherever, and go to buy a handgun, you're going to need a permit, and you need to be 21. So again, 18 or older to open carry, no permit, but 21 to get a permit. I don't know if I have to say this or not, but I'm going to say it anyway. You cannot be a felon and open carry. And if you're on probation or parole, and the restrictions of that saying you can't have any handguns, obviously you cannot open carry either.
No guns.
Now, of course, if you're on personal property, your property or a friend's property or family's property, you can carry your gun on your own property without any issues. Again, don't be a felon. And if you have any restrictions, obviously probation, parole, don't carry your gun there either. So the next question is, where can you open carry? And that's just about anywhere. Restaurants, bars, in your car, on the side of the road, in parks, in the forest, woods. And now you can open carry in a church or a place of worship. Just be aware that if you're at church and there's a big old sign that says no guns allowed, then there are no guns allowed. That includes the mall, a restaurant, a bar. So yes, you can carry those handguns into these places, but the place is a private business. That means that it's not, if they can make their own rules, they can tell you they don't want to serve you because you have a gun, and they don't have to. You can't make them serve you. So don't be a Karen and turn to this big political thing of, well, the state of North Carolina says I can open carry. Yes, you can, but that's a private business. A lot of people seem to not understand that. And they're like, well, it's a public place. No, it's not. It's a private business, just like your home is a private place, but you allow public access. Can the mailman, a UPS man, drop off packages at your door? Of course they can, because it has public access. But can they just come inside your house without your permission? Well, probably not. So beware of that stuff. And people like to argue about this all the time. And my question, another thing I always say is, it's a restaurant, so it closes at 10 o'clock at night. Does that mean at 10:01 you can go kick the front door in and just go inside the business? Of course you can't. You're going to be charged for breaking and entering. So don't cause a scene. If they don't want you to have your weapon there, then you can't have it there, and that's that. Are you breaking the law? No, you're not. But if you're refusing to obey by their rules, they can now say, okay, well, you're not allowed in our business anymore. And now you're breaking the law, because now you're trespassing. And then the cops will come, and it's a whole big mess of issue, and It's not even worth it. So where can you not take your gun? You definitely cannot take it to schools, to law enforcement facilities. That includes a police department, sheriff's department, or a prison or a jail. We just went over private buildings where they said you cannot open carry with a big old sign. So I'm really hit on open carry inside your vehicle. A lot of people ask this question, can I open carry my vehicle? And yes, you can, but the gun has to be visible to law enforcement if you get stopped for any kind of traffic violation, or if you get stopped in general. So be aware of that. Now, it does not mean you can have it underneath your seat, your glove compartment, your center console, in your wife's purse, on you, hidden by a shirt or whatever. If the officer approaches your car and you go, oh yeah, officer, I have a gun in my waistband, and you thinking you can't be charged with carrying a concealed weapon, you're wrong. Wrong. A lot of questions get asked next is, well, I can't leave it on my dash because I'm going to turn, it's going to fly everywhere. I understand that. Leave it in your seat. I've also seen where a lot of guns have been mounted to their vehicle, right underneath your steering wheel. Usually is where I see it at. And people are asking me, is that legal? Well, yeah, it's legal to mount it there. You can mount anything you want there in your own car. Just again, is your leg covering up your gun? Is your steering wheel covering up your gun? Can the officer see it? Probably not. So you can mount it there. I don't see it being a problem mounting it there. Again, it's not visible to the officer. I don't know how much more to say than just to that.
Don't do it! Don't do it!
Now, I know earlier I mentioned that you had to be 18 or older to open carry, but you don't need a gun permit. Now, if you think about getting a CCW, you have to be 21. And I know that's a little off the topic of what we're talking about, because we're talking about open carry, but I did a video about that. Check it out right up there in the corner if you want to know more about that. And if you want to buy a gun, again, you have to be 21 to apply just for a permit for a gun, but you only have to be 18 to carry it. So basically, I get asked this question a lot too. What if someone gives me a gun and you're 18 or older? Of course, if your dad, mom, whoever buys you a gun, gives it to you, you don't need a permit to carry it if you're 18 or older. Remember, under 18, you cannot carry it open carry. I know I just said under 18, you cannot open carry, but there are exceptions to the rule. If you're hunting with a handgun, you are allowed to do that. If you are emancipated, basically means divorced from your parents, you can carry a handgun because you're no longer under the supervision of a parent or guardian. And the third one is if you're going to possess the gun for educational or recreational purposes under the supervision of an adult. So basically, if you're going to clean the gun, definitely have an adult present. If you're going to talk education about the gun, educating other people, adult has to be present. Now I'm going to go over two laws real quickly about handguns. Now, you can be charged as an adult if you allow a handgun to be accessible to a child that is 12 or younger. Now, again, I'm not an attorney, so these laws can change a lot. So right now it is 12 or younger. So in other words, you have to have it in a lockbox. You cannot store it up high on the refrigerator. I've seen that a lot as an officer where people got shot and killed, young kids. In your closet, above your clothes, where you're like, oh, my child's 3 feet tall, they're not going to get it. Doesn't matter. If you're caught like that, you could get charged. And just not even being charged, but just for the safety of your child or any child, has to be in a lockbox. I definitely you can buy one of those trigger guard locks too. So you have to make the handgun to where it's not easy for them to access. And of course, this reverts back to the first rule, what I just told a few minutes ago. If you are with a child who's 12 or younger and you're showing them how to use a gun, shoot a gun, clean a gun, then of course you're fine. That doesn't apply for those reasons. That just only applies for just you have a gun, kids in the house. Another thing also, if you are a single adult or couple. It doesn't even matter either way. You don't have children, but children come in and visit you. I would definitely make sure you secure your handguns. Can you be charged for that? Probably not, because that child does not live with you, but we're not even worried about being charged. Why would you? Definitely secure your weapons. If you know you have a company over and their kids. You know how kids they get into anything. So let's just make it safe for everybody.
Safety first.
Now I'm going to go over a law real quickly that a lot of people are not even aware of, and it's called going armed to the terror of the public. I'm going to read the elements of the crime real quickly to you. It is a person guilty of the offense that they arm himself or herself with an unusual and dangerous weapon for the purpose of terrifying others and going about on public highways in a manner to cause terror to the public. So this law kind of contradicts open carry. And it could get into a sticky situation. A good example of this is when I was a police officer, we had a soldier who went into the local mall here. I live in Fayetteville, North Carolina. To the local mall, he strapped on his AR-15 onto his back. He didn't have it, pointing at anybody. He just had it strapped to himself. Walked into a photo shop. He wanted photos of himself with his handgun. He was a soldier trying to be in a movie, from what I understand. And of course, you can only imagine with school shootings and just mass shootings in general, he scared everybody. We got calls that we had an active shooter in the mall. Of course, we roll up in there, 50 officers deep looking for this person. Finally, he comes out of the mall. We have him prone out, all that stuff. Luckily for him, he didn't get hurt by law enforcement, because we were told it was an active shooter, it was a mass shooter, all that stuff. And did he, we were told to charge him, but those charges were dismissed later in court. And the question I guess I have is that armed to terror? I don't think it was. Of course, powers that be above my head, he was charged. I didn't charge him, but that's a different story in itself. But I could see if it was different if he had the gun out and he was pointing at people, or he even shot the weapon, which he did none of those things from what I understand. He just had it strapped to himself, walked into a photo shop, wanted to take some pictures. He wanted to be in a movie. He was trying to do some professional photos with this gun. And that's all it was. So be careful out there. You have to remember, in these times of mass shootings and stuff like that, yes, can you strap your AR-15 to your, on your shoulder and walk down the street? Yes, you can. Shotgun too. Also, yes, you can. Is this going to scare people? Probably. And they're probably going to call the cops, and you're going to be approached by the cops. Don't turn into a jerk. Okay, they're only doing their job. They get called. If we get calls, we have to respond to them. We can't not pick and choose what calls we go to. We can't go, well, I'm not going to that call. That's just a guy who's out there, with his Second Amendment right, and he's just showing, his Second Amendment rights. Yes, sure he is, but we still have to respond. Okay, so if you're that person who wants to do that, yes, you're totally legal to do that. Just be aware you're going to cause a lot of problems, and you're going to bring about 50 calls on you within 2 to 3 minutes of, you strapping this thing on, walking down the street. So, if the officer approaches you, just be aware of that. Have your ID on you. Don't reach for the gun, all that stuff. The officer, when they approach you, just have your hands up and let them they're going to give you instructions of what to do, okay? Just follow them and you should be fine. Now, if you take this gun and you're out pointing at people and pointing at cars, then we got a problem. Then I would say you could be charged with armed to terror the public. That's a totally different scenario. Pointing at people, pointing at guns, whatever the case may be, just strapped to you walking down the street, then, I think you're fine. But again, I'm not an attorney, so definitely at your own risk, do what you think you can handle. If you enjoyed that video, check out these video right here to my left. It talks about 4 gun laws you should know in North Carolina. This other video is a video YouTube recommends to you. See you guys in the next video.